First of all, we have to divide the tail from the heads. Sometimes we find in stores just the tail like that. I would like to let you consider tonight that you already paid also for the heads, just buying the tails. So it's a great idea, buy the entire one if you have the chance, instead just the tails. We will use the heads, as I said, to make the stock, but definitely we have to remove the eyes, because the eyes of the shrimps are definitely bitter. So we will give a very bad flavor to our stock. So we have to, with a small knife like that, we have just to remove the two eyes. Then we have the tail. From the tail, we remove first the legs with our hands, then the skin or shell. Okay, here the shrimp is completely clean. At the very end, inside, we have something that is considered is called vein, but definitely is the intestine, so it's mandatory to remove this part of the shrimps. So at the very end, we have shells and heads from the sides and the clean tail to the other side. We repeat the operation with all the prawns that we have on the tray of ingredients. And then we can move to the next step. Again, the last one, I divide heads from tail. I remove the legs, the shell, and the intestine. I remove the eyes. See? Okay. So now we can go back in our tray, placing the shells on a side and the three tail on the other one. Oh, just okay. So I'm cleaning up a little bit the cutting board, and then I can focus on the veggies. We have celery, carrots, and so an onion, and some parsley. For the parsley, we will use the leaf for the dish, to finalize the dish, and the stems for the stock. So right now we have to use just the stems. Stems and leaves are very, very different in terms of flavors in all the plants. So we can consider that this recipe requires both, but is something really, really uncommon. So we can clean up the onion by removing the skin. Half my onion is quite big, so half is enough. Then we can peel the carrots. And you can wash the carrots, leaving the skin on. Of course, we are referring to sustainability in this lesson, in this class. So I would like to maintain also the outside. Celery, we don't have to peel because the fibers are not a problem at all to make a stock. If we want to make something to eat it raw, maybe strain a little bit and remove the strains on top would be a good idea. All we have to do right now is just cut the carrots, the top, the bottom of the carrots. This part of the roots, it's really bitter. And we are ready to prepare our stock. We have just to cut a little bit the vegetables. Everything is cut, so we can start cooking. On the stove, a big pot, 2 rounds of olive oil. I switch on, we can see the fire, but at LdM we use induction stoves, so I switch on to maximum the stove, and without waiting too much, I'm ready to add all my vegetables in. We let it fry a little bit to give a base to our stock. So, as I told you, use also the entire carrot without peeling it. Be a nice idea. Also, using the carrots to make another preparation, and so you, in this case, you should remove the skin. You can reuse the skin to make stocks, to prepare risotto or soup. Everything here is really fragrant. As you see, everything is frying. I will lower a little bit the temperature right now, and I'm ready to add the parsley stem. Now we should wait and control and check our vegetable base here in order to give a nice golden brown color. At that point, the next step will be add the shrimp heads and then the glaze with some brandy or white wine. What is important in this preparation is roast the heads and bones of the shrimps in order to extract the flavors and give a note very, very fragrant and very, very nutty. So the shrimps will turn brown in a few minutes. Vegetables, as you can see, needs a little bit more time. So as I said, for this recipe, we will use just the skin, not the tails. Of course, at the very end, we can also add the tails in order to increase the quality and the richness of our dish, but definitely is not required. I'm controlling the heat, increasing or reducing the heat as needed. Okay, the vegetables are turning golden. I'm ready to add the shrimp heads and the bones. not the tail. And I mix everything. Now, the only limit of the trimming is the possibility to transmit smells and flavors. Now everything here in the pot changed completely in terms of smell. Now we can feel this fragrancy of the prawns. And you can see that on the bottom will turn a little bit browny. It's not bad at all. This is the nutty notes that we want, that we are looking for. Once the heads change the color, becomes a little bit more whitey than before, we deglaze with the brandy or white wine. I have some brandy here, everything in one. And again, I mix. Quite intense, the smell right now. I have the alcohol that is evaporating right now. So I should use my senses to understand if it is done or not. Once I cannot feel any alcohol here, means I'm done. And done means go to the next step. That means add water, possibly cold, to cover everything. At this point, we can add the last ingredient of our stock, that is tomato or tomato paste. Is up to you. No big differences in between these two. If you choose for tomato, 1 ripe tomato is enough. In case of tomato paste, half spoon is enough. And we mix everything. Now we will let it boil for at least 15 minutes, and that's the reason why we start with the stock. Perfect. So now we wait for a little bit until the stock starts simmering. Then we lower the heat under the pots, and we will focus on the presentation. I'm using the time to clean up. Probably my heater is a little bit faster than the regular ones. As I said, it is an induction stove. So we can see that is almost done. You see the first bubbles. And you can see something important, that is the white foam on top. From the hot of the glazing, we added some cold water. By the thermic shock, some impurity of the shrimps comes out. The impurity is definitely the foam that you can see here on top. So what is really important right now is, with a little like that, try to remove this foam on top, little by little. At this point, our stock is done, and we will let it boil in order to extract all the flavors and nutrients from the heads, and of course bones. We are using an uncommon technique tonight. We are using such skills in culinary arts in order to make pasta with the not the best part of the shrimps, of course. Definitely work with food items that could be considered 100% sustainable, require or a lot of time or specific equipment to obtain something good. And in this case, the technique is cook the pasta with the same technique of the risotto. So generally, we cook the pasta in a large amount of water, and then once done, we drain it and we pass it finally into the sauce to combine the flavors. In this case, we will use the liquid, the stock, to cook the pasta little by little. In this way, the starches were released by the pasta into the stock will create a nice emulsion and create definitely what we can call it a sauce. As you can see, the foams is coming out. What is important is just remove it. Bene. I can lower the heat and let it simmer very, very little, very, very slowly. And we are ready for the presentation. Okay. Okay. So sustainability nowadays is more important than before. Nowadays, we are living in a postmodern society, and how is the situation? Unfortunately, not good, because the world's population keeps growing, and we will pass the 10 billions in less than 50 years. Si è frizzato. Okay, sorry, we have some technical issues with the presentation. At the same time, I was saying the most developed country consume more food than necessary, and here we have the food waste. Just consider that the United States waste 31% of the total food production. And another example of how social and food injustice affect the world, 1 billion people. 1 billion people who suffer from hunger, and by the other side, there are many more that suffer from at least overweight or obesity. The current food production system is one of the major causes of environmental damage, because we can consider, generally we consider just engines, the problems with the fuels and carbs, the first cause of the climate change, but definitely also the food production system is one of the biggest. Unfortunately, something is changing right now, because there are, for example, the Pope in the second encyclical start talking about the problem. So it's not just Greta Thunberg. It is a great example, of course, but also other, we can say, big society is start understanding and talking about the problem. So we can see in this encyclical, there is the first time then where a pope speak about something really pragmatic like that, because we can see that in section 3, the Pope analyzed the causes of the ecological and environmental crisis, understanding that the problem probably is a technocratic paradigm. That means we accept everything by the new technology, not considering anything about the potential negative effects that impact on society of the new technologies. And also in section 4, propose something very, very pragmatic, very real, a model of integral ecology. Now, I think we have to stop for a little bit and try to understand with the self-analysis our food choices. When we have to choose a food item, which are the causes that influence our judgment? And could be that mass media and commercial have an impact and have something that modify our judgment or not. If you stop a little bit and try to think how much meat per day did you consume last month? How many times did you have sweets per day last week? Probably we cannot remember it, because our choices are determined by a lot of things, but definitely we don't care probably too much by choosing, by acquiring, by buying doing grocery shopping or buying food in general. Come va la presentazione? Sorry, I have trouble with the presentation. Okay, to change our diet, we can understand and follow some concepts. First, we should analyze before we buy the food, maybe the footprints. The footprints definitely are the water, carbon, and nitrogen. We should consider how much water is needed to produce the foods that we are looking for, how much carbon dioxide is produced to let arrive this product to us, and how much nitrogen, that means pesticide fertilizers, are used to produce this product. Generally, the pillars for sustainable nutrition are consume less foods, food waste reduction, and eat less meat and more vegetables. Considering that, it's quite strange that I choose a recipe with shrimps instead choose a recipe with vegetables. What I think is, of course, if someone chooses to turn vegetarian, is probably one of the best choice for the environment and also for health, but it's not so easy change our habits, eating habits so quick. So I think maybe people should eat, can eat or want to eat whatever, meat and fish, maybe not frequently, but sometimes. So at this point, the problem, the thing is, the topic is, try to use as much of the animal we can, as the recipe that we are doing right now. If I have to eat the shrimps, the best way to eat the shrimps according with sustainability is use the entire animal. Nowadays it's not like that. The good example, the most important and iconic example is probably the beef. By looking just a little bit about the butcher shop's history, we have two examples of ancient times. The first is a butcher shop of Roman Empire. The second one is a butcher shop in Renaissance, in the Middle Age, sorry. As you can see, the representation gives us the idea that one cow was killed. Then all the cows should be sold before kill another one. How is nowadays? We have probably several options, probably too many options. So one person could eat loins for the entire life without understanding that a big cow have just 2 loins. So all the animals should be used. Also, by looking the anatomy from a book of people that study butchery here in the United States, you can see maybe a big difference compared with other cultures. And you can see the cow is divided, of course, in half, and then every single piece has a specific name. You probably know, because of the most common one: the brisket, rib plate, short loin, and again. Here, the heads and the tail are not considered at all, but definitely are eatable. For example, in Italy, we have great examples of how the culinary tradition you find a way to use those two pieces. Could be coppa di testa, one salami, made with the face and with the cheeks of the cow. Could be coda alla vaccinara, the Jewish style in the Jewish ghetto of Rome, the way to cook the tail of the cow. Di nuovo. Okay. So, and this is probably the effect on the environment. We use we want just one piece of the animal. The rest of the animal is thrown away. We produce food waste. Then, by reverse, the demand on maybe loin increase, and then we have to breed more meat. Unfortunately, for breed more meat, we need more livestock. To have more livestock, we need more feeds. To produce more feeds, we need more fields. And to, of course, work on the fields, we need more pesticides and fertilizers. So it's a domino effect. So the tips of the night we can say could be: use everything in a food item. In a cow, could be the hard muscles, could be the heads, could be the green part of the sprouts. For example, carrots. In the store, so you just see the orange part, but the carrot, this is just the part that they stay underground. Then the plant completely have the sprouts that comes out are green. The taste is quite bittery, but cooking it in hot boiling water for at least 5-10 minutes release this bitterness into the water, and then these sprouts are incredibly good to be eaten as a side. So also another things could be consider the food as a pillar of our life. We have the attitude to consume the food very, very fast in this modern way, in this modern time. And I think anything is more important than eat. It's the only thing that we have to do every single day of our life. And also I can connect sustainability on the slow food. Why? Chewing and swallowing, how works in the mouth. We start digesting in our mouth with an enzyme that is amylase that catalyzes by hydrolysis the starch into sugars, cuts big sugars in simple sugars, helping the absorption into the intestine. So we can say that if I don't take the proper time to chewing and swallowing and understanding what I'm eating, so I start eating definitely with my eyes. My eyes give me the water in my mouth, that means saliva, that means amylase is the preparation for the digestion. So concentrating myself on my foods, I can, at the very end of the digestion process, absorb more nutrients by eating very, very fast, maybe doing something else, PC, work, television, phone, whatever, driving maybe. I'm not concentrated on the food, so the best part, big amounts of the totality of the nutrient that I'm eating, I cannot absorb it into the intestine. So definitely it's not sustainable, we can say, logically speaking. So And this is definitely what we do here at LdM in the School of Nutrition in Italian Culture and and wine also, because gastronomy is something that is fundamental nowadays for the people. And gastronomy is not something very simple, because it includes topics in culinaria, nutrition, environmental studies, agriculture, anthropology, and much more. So I think investing some time in understanding the gastronomy could be positive for the entire environment, but also for our health. Okay, and this was the small overview. So we can go back in our stock that in the meantime, it's ready. So I'm still having some foam here because I was talking too much. So I should remove the foam, and then I'm ready to pass the stock. So what I need right now is another pot or a jar or whatever, and I have two options. First, blend everything in order to extract the flavors and obtain something like that. The color is more dense, is more solid, or just pass through a strainer the liquids. And this is the second option, the easiest. At the very end, with the first option, you have just a punch of flavors, but also this is good enough. We are preparing a classic base of cuisine that is called bisque. So as you can see, the two results are something like that. This is the just strained one, and this is the blended one. Now we are ready to prepare the pasta. We choose long pasta, linguine. In Italy, we say the linguine with it, to make it softer enough to work in a pan like that. We have to soak it in some water. So we start like a regular one, like a regular pasta. So the pots with water on the heater, maximum heats. Here, we wait until boil. And then once ready, we let cook the pasta for just a couple of minutes here in the water. Then we will pass it into the pan. Into the pan that just to increase a little bit the flavors could be, as I said, increased with a garlic clove, optional. If you want, if you love the garlic flavor, we peel the garlic clove. We remove the sprout from the center. It is one of the reasons why garlic sometimes is not really well digested by people. And then we cut the garlic clove in small pieces. Two rounds of olive oil into the pan. As you can see, the water starts simmering. We also switch on the induction under the pan, medium heats, and we add the garlic clove in. With a spatula or a spoon, we move the garlic until become fragrant. We can smell, but the garlic should fry very, very slowly and not more than golden brown in terms of coloration. As you can see, the garlic start frying. I wait for a minute more. I definitely can smell the garlic. That means I'm ready to add the bisque, the shrimp stock. As you can see, it's liquids. And we will see now how the magic works with the starches. The pan with the pot with the water for the pasta, it's simmering. I can add some rock salt, 2 pinches. Once the salt is completely melts into the water, I can add the pasta in. With the tongs, I help the linguine into the pot. Here we are. I lower a little bit the heat in order to not have problems with the starches. With the starches that comes out, definitely starches are the white foam here. And we wait 2 minutes. In the meantime, we can prepare the parsley to finish the dish. We use the stems to make the stock, and now we use the leaves as decoration and also as flavors to give some freshness to our dish. Like that, I baton it, I slice very, very thin, like a julienne, the parsley, without devastating the knife, the parsley like that. I want something that would be more rustic, we can say. The pasta should boil during the cooking process, not simmering, not like exploding like a volcano, of course, but boiling regularly. Technically speaking, I'm done with the spaghetti because, as you can see, I would like to show you the spaghetti is completely raw, but is flexible. This is what I want. So once we have this consistency, I can move the spaghetti that once again are raw into the stock. I move the pan on the induction stove, and I start the cooking process. So, as I said, this is not common as a process to cook the pasta. This is definitely more similar to the process to make risotto. And adding a little bit more stock when needed. What does it mean needed? Pasta needs liquids to cook, so the pasta should covered by liquids at least. And as you see, I'm mixing the pasta continuously. In this way, I help the releasing of starches. So once again, what's the sense of this? Definitely the bisque is more like a soup than a sauce, so too liquid to be paired to the pasta. In this way, we are using the starches that generally pasta release into the water to create an emulsion. At the same time, we are making a pasta dish that contain more nutrients than a regular one, because normally you waste the starches throwing away the pasta water. So two goals on the same task. Next we'll continue. As you probably noticed, I didn't add any salt except the rock salt into the pasta water. This is because in the stocks there are two different schools, we can say, into the kitchens. There are people that add salt to the stocks and people that do not add any salt. My philosophy is try to concentrate as much as possible the flavors. So if I add any salt into the stocks, by concentration, I could increase too much the level of salt of the dish. In this way, I have no problems. I could keep adding the stock as much as I want without have this problem. Of course, at this point, it's mandatory taste the sauce. The first taste gives me a punch of sweetness. It's quite strange, probably, definitely is not, because starches have a sweet tendency. Also, the shrimps and also the tomato that we add. We also used brandy that give us an extra punch of sugars. Also, from my first bite, from my first taste, I can also understand that the pasta is not completely unsalty. So, and the reason are the shrimps. Shrimps has a minerality in it. That means that require, of course, the shells, they require less salt than probably what you expect. In this way, understanding the taste and understanding the quantity of pasta that I'm doing right now, I could add the perfect amount of salt. That to me is half round of salt. As you can see, the starches are doing what they are supposed to do. As you can see, the sauce is turning very, very thick. Not completely, because it is not done. So, talking about shrimps and in general pieces, what I suggest you is try to find a seller to trust. Try to find a fish seller that can sell you to a cheaper price, or if you can, also for free, give you for free the shrimp heads, but also the fish bones to make nice soups or pasta dishes. An alternative to make the same pasta completely meat-free could be make vegetable broth, maybe using all the products that I don't use regularly in my kitchen. Could be the onion skins, could be the carrot peels, could be other stuff like that. Make a great vegetable stock and use the stock as I show you right now, adding little by little to a pasta that have 2 or maximum 5 minutes of cooking into the hot boiling water. In this way, you can create the sauce from nothing by using the starches. As you see, the sauce is done. Final taste. Also, we can check if the pasta is done. Mine is very al dente, and of course I like it. That means I'm done. So done means remove from the heat and make the last step of all the first courses in Italy. Risotto or pasta dishes are no exceptions. Mantecatura. Mantecatura is an emulsion in between the fats, starches, and air. We have the fats here that is olive oil. It was just the base of our pasta dish. We can add a little bit, a squeeze of olive oil, a little bit of stock to give you some liquids here, and then I'm ready to saute. In this way, I'm incorporating the air and I create the emulsion. Same times, I sprinkle the parsley into the pasta. If you cannot saute, don't be afraid, because you can just move the pasta this way. Try to catch the air, incorporating the air. As you can see, the final result is shiny and also creamy. Ready to plate. È caldo, Matteo. Ladle, tongs, you keep some pasta with your tongs, you go on the ladle, and like when you eat the spaghetti with forks and spoon, you twist the tongs this way in order to create a nice nest. Then you go on the plate, just removing the ladle without moving the tongs, you make the nest. You remove tongs, and you can add some sauce on top. a squeeze of olive oil, and we're done. This is pasta done completely with shrimp's heads and shrimp's bones. And also, of course, we have the tails here that can be used to make a nice, or sashimi if you want, or if you have the chance to buy the entire shrimps for this recipe, you can do something like that. And I'll show you right now. I'm cleaning up the cutting board. I can make a nice tartare, nice crudité. Cutting in half the shrimps, and then make cubes into a small bowl like that. Salt, pepper, olive oil. We let it marinate. We want then with 2 spoons we can make a canal by twisting the shrimps in between the 2 spoons, and then we can place the tartare on top of our linguine. So of course this is the 2.0 recipe, we can say. So the conclusion is definitely use vegetable, consume vegetable instead. Meat is more sustainable than fish or meat. But if you choose to eat some fish or meat, because it's just a choice, you can use the entire animal and parts that normally are not used. To do something like that, of course, is required a little bit of knowledge in gastronomy. So thank you so much. I hope you appreciate the recipe. Maria.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Giulio. I don't know if anyone would like to, if some of you were cooking along and would like to show what you made, or if you have any questions and you want to unmute yourselves for a little, please feel welcome to.
Yes, absolutely.
It looks so delicious. I can't wait to make the recipe, Giulio. The color of the stock, and once you combine it with the pasta, it's so beautiful.
Yes, definitely. It's just require a little bit of time, but probably something that we should do sometimes. We should keep some time for us, cook for us, cook for our family, spend some time on this. Also, cooking is also convivial, so should be made also in family with people. Something really good helps a lot, helped a lot in this period of quarantine, of we are closing at home without nothing to do. Cooking could be a good solution to have the moral and spend sometimes together.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you.
For me, it's so many years eating Italian food, and it's the first time that I saw it doing this way, and it's amazing. It's really great. Thank you so much. It's going to be my anniversary, and this is going to be there.
Great.
I will try. Thank you so much.
This is, yes, because this is not strictly traditional. This is where the culinary arts join the tradition. So here we have some technical skills that helps nutrition, sustainability, but also the final product. This is everything together.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I'm trying to put this so good.
So, anything else? If I can clarify anything, I'm here to answer to all the questions.
Any questions?
Thank you.